Well, would you look at that? Bears come away with the dub, a convincing dub. Now, I think we all agree one of the less meaningful dubs, but a dub nonetheless. So let me get them Bear Dons in the chat as we get this thing on the way, man. Let me get them Bear Dons in the chat. Let's fill the chat up with the Bear Don, especially if you're a super fan. You know, we got the Bear Don emoji over there, man. So appreciate y'all for tuning in and rocking with your boy as always, man. Hit that like button, subscribe to the page. So we do talk Chicago sports daily. I got to change that from weekly to daily because we're always on here going hard with our teams, man. And we don't want you guys to miss a thing, so make sure that you hit that bell as well, man. It's the only channel that's talking Chicago sports, how Chicago talk. So make sure that you get in tune with us. Bears come away with a dub, man. Bears come away with a dub. Good defensive dub. A win that I believe that uh, uh, um, I think we all agree that it doesn't mean much, but you feel good about the players. Robert Quinn comes away as the single season sack leader for the Chicago Bears, breaking Richard Dent's record. I think that's pretty cool to look at today. And there was a lot of positives to talk about today. Now, granted, versus a very, very bad team, but you can only beat the teams that you were scheduled to play. And listen, for all the people, I should have said the Bears will go 3-1 in their last 4 games. If I did 3-1, I'd have been perfect. I predicted 4-0. But if I did 3-1, it would have been perfect. But for everybody in here, man, the thing I want to keep it positive moving out of this season, right? We're hearing word that this could be the last week possibly for Nagy. I think we've heard word of that just about every week, though. We're hearing word that next week could be the last week for Nagy. We're also hearing word that the Bears are probably going to redo this whole thing. So I want to come into 2022 positive because I'm positive that the Bears will be a different team next season. I'm positive that the Bears will be moving in the right direction next season. So, what are the positives? What are the things that you're looking forward to next year? What are the things that you're looking forward to coming this offseason? I think we all agree fire Nagy's one thing that we're looking forward to. But what are the things that you're looking forward to? What did you see in this game that you're looking forward to? What did you see in this game that you're excited about moving into next week? Let me know in the comments, man. Unfortunately, we don't got the phone lines up for. Somehow, this is the first week that us and our sister network out in Washington are both on the phone lines at the same time. So we don't got the phone lines up, but I want to know what you guys think. What do you believe is something that that Bears fans can look forward to next year? And I'm gonna name you a few. When I look at this team, even with as up and down as they've been, I see names like Roquan Smith and I get excited. I see a bounce back year from Robert Quinn and I get excited. Are there pieces there that you can add to? And to me, the fact that you have a stud at that position who gets overlooked consistently is something that I'm excited about. I see Darnell Mooney on the other side today proving me wrong. Darnell Mooney looked like a number 1 wide receiver today. You have that continued hope that Justin is going to move in the right direction. I see a lot of pieces on that offensive side of the ball that you're sitting in that if. You know what I'm saying? You're sitting in that if this happens, if this happens, if this happens. But scheme is really the biggest thing that needs to be changed around here. And protection. I see positives on this team. To me, I'm looking at it as a who do we keep around? How do we build this thing out next year? I see positives. It's not all gloom and doom. It's not all the end of the world. Mike Davidson said Mooney's continued progress, Fields getting a whole offseason with the first team. Absolutely. Absolutely. And here's the thing that I look at with how this team is going to be moving forward, right? Now that you're out of it, wins are never a bad thing. Now that you're out of it, it's a little too late for you to get these wins. This would have been a nice thing if you maybe get a couple of those games that we expected you to get earlier in the season, but you didn't. So I'm excited that the players, because there was a point this season where we were talking about the players are done. The players have no feeling, they have no love, they don't want to be. They don't want to be in the building. They're done. They've tapped out. I'm to me, it's good to see that they haven't. To me, it's good to see that there is still some fighting them. This defense came out today and absolutely went to work. Held Mike Glennon to 4 for 11. 4 for 11. Awful day for Mike Glennon, which is very par for the course for Mike Glennon. But it's one of those things where when I see a defensive day like this, and here's the question: are you excited about Sean Desai? Are you excited that maybe he, with the right pieces in the building, can continue to be successful at DC? Now that's going to be on the next head coach's job to make him. But at a minimum, I mean, listen, when talent was on the field, we saw production from it. Jay saying facts. Saying Mike Glennon doesn't need help to go 4 for 11. Hey, listen, you still got to stop them. And the defense did that. Now, I'm not saying that the defense is a dominant defense. The defense is the defense that it was in 2018. But Jalen Johnson has absolutely played well this season. I'm looking forward to seeing him continue to develop. Robert Quinn with a bounce back year. I'm looking forward to continuing to see that develop. Now, he's in his 11th year, but I guess we got him on a 5-year deal. He's going to be around for a while. Mac coming off of a year. Mike's excited about Mac and Quinn together next season, coming off of an injury year. To me, there's things I look at. You know what I'm saying? That because at this point in the season, there's a lot of pieces that are going to be gone. Artie Burns, Kendall Vildor, those guys probably will not be there next season. So now I'm looking at it as how do I evaluate what will be here next season? How do I say this is a good piece for the Bears to keep around? This is a good piece for the Bears to keep around. This is a good piece that's going to move the Bears in the right direction. We saw a lot of those plays today. And say what you want, but listen, we also saw guys on the field that have checked out. I'm looking at the positives on this team over the negatives moving forward because you know what? If I look at the negatives, it'll be the whole season. So I want to see because at this point we're heading towards a clean slate. We're heading towards a rebuild. Or a retool maybe. And in the NFL, you know what? If you get your offensive line position right, you can do that quickly. I'm looking forward to a new staff. I'm looking forward to a new front office. I'm looking forward to a new offensive line that hopefully is able to get it together and figure that play out. Because I'll tell you what, if you get that position right and you got Quinn and Mac on the other side doing what they're doing, now your line's at a very different position. You know what I'm saying? Like that's why I'm looking at it. I hope the Bears go out this offseason. You don't have your first round pick. Losses mean nothing at this point. I'm glad to see them winning these games. Here's the thing that I want to see. You have to find Justin his guy. He's got Mooney right now. That's his guy. I think Horstead's another guy that's his guy. I don't know if it's going to be Cole Kmet. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. Find him another wide receiver that's his guy. Shape this team around what you have. Shape this team around what you have. Here's the thing to be excited about for the Bears, right? You have fundamental pieces in place, you think. Some positions you know. To me, I know I have one cornerback. A fundamental piece. To me, I know I have one defensive end. Honestly, I know I have two in Quinn and Mac. Fundamental pieces. I know I have my middle linebacker. Fundamental piece. On the other side of the ball, at a minimum, I think we've got a 1A, 1B situation. If you've got two, if you've got two solid wide receivers, you've got your 1A. Or possibly a 1B, depending on how good the guy you bring in is. I think A-Rob's gone. I think you have your 1B possibly in Darnell Mooney. Maybe there's some other talent on this roster that sticks around too as a number 2, number 3, but I think you have your 1B. I think you have to find your 1A. But maybe Mooney does continue to develop and becomes 1A and you got to find 1B. Either way, I think you have that piece. You've got two running backs. You've got two running backs. And even if you just go with one of them, they're both productive. They're both good. Even if you just go with Monty, Monty's very productive. Or if the next guy is like, yeah, we're probably not going to re-sign Monty here, but we still got this young kid who we got in the 5th round a couple of years ago. Keep Herbert in there. Guess what? Herbert's productive as well. Now, is he on the same level as Monty? I don't know if I'd go that far, but you know how I feel about running backs. A fundamental piece of your offense is there. You got two backs. Quarterback's a question mark. But you think at a minimum you've got your franchise guy there. But that question mark is still there. Fundamental piece. And the Bears got so many tight ends on the roster, there's got to be one of them that can play well. I think we've seen Justin's kind of more leaning towards I want to rock with Horsted over Kmet, or Graham just didn't get in there enough. I don't know what the heck that was. But you've got your fundamental pieces on both sides. Now, how do you feel it in? Now, the biggest fundamental pieces you are missing, that left tackle. There's a huge question mark there. There's a huge question mark at left tackle. Is Tevin Jenkins going to be able to be that guy? We like the fire that he showed in one game, but he also got hurt in that game again with the ankle injury after coming off being gone for a season with a back injury. When big guys start to go down, it usually doesn't work in your favor. But all right, maybe you got a piece there. Did you find something in Larry Borom? Did you find something in James Daniels, who I think most of us believe is a pretty good piece? There's some pieces there. There's some pieces that are in place. It's not devoid of talent. I don't think that it's the greatest roster I've ever seen. But I'll tell you what, there's not many times where I've been able to say, I feel like we got a quarterback. I feel like we got a wide receiver. I feel like we got a running back. There's not many times in Bears history where I've been able to throw that out. Now, I would like to feel like I got an offensive line that's going to protect these guys and open up some holes. But I honestly feel like the Bears have some things that going into next season are some key pieces that can quickly turn you around. Because remember, this is the NFL. In the NFL, it doesn't take much often. In the NFL, you get some things in the right place. And I see people saying Daniels is a free agent. You re-sign James Daniels. James Daniels has not been the problem on this offensive line. Now, he's not been the greatest offensive lineman we've seen come through the building, but he's not been the problem on this offensive line. I see some people talk about Peters. Urban says, Peters earned another year in my book. Does Peters want to play another year, y'all? That's what you have to ask yourself. That's what you got to ask yourself, dog. Peters up there. Jason Peters is up there. Does Peters want to play another year and go through dealing with rehab and stuff like that? That's a different story altogether. Mohawk the Kid, shout out to you, man. He says, do you think they can start Gibson and maybe trade Mac for some draft picks? Not a dead cap money with trading Mac would be too much. Nobody's going to take that on. It's too much of a cap hit. Too much. So you'll probably see Mac here next year, which isn't a bad thing. Listen, it isn't a bad thing. I understand the reason for cutting bait. I understand that you need to rebuild this defense and you don't have the picks to do it. I get it. I really do. But if you've got Mac, you've got Quinn, you've got Roquan, you got Jalen Johnson on one side, you got to find a cornerback on the other side to help him out. If he has another season like this, we're not talking about this defense as, oh my God, they can't do anything. The problem this season was not Jalen Johnson. The problem this season was there was nobody on the other side of Jalen Johnson, so teams literally didn't even look his way. How many games did we see with that where we're like, is Jalen Johnson on the field? And you see it's just like Vildor all night. It was like, well, I guess if I can keep getting a wide open pass to him, I'm going to throw it that way. Don't get me wrong. There's a ton of holes on this team. There's a ton of holes on this team. And it's not going to be an easy fix, but I'll say this. You're a better team quicker. Now, it all depends on the development of Justin Fields. It all depends on what he's able to how he's able to improve this offseason as well. Because if he's able to improve this offseason, if he's able to get a little bit better with picking up those blitz schemes and stuff like that, understanding when he needs to take off, when he needs to put it up quickly, when he needs to move on. Once he gets that, that's a different team. And then you got to figure out, is Tevin the guy that's going to stand in there and protect him? Is he that guy? And, you know, a weird conversation to have with Kid not here because he's usually the one doing this. But how far up do you rebuild? I know it's easy to say you clean house. It's easy to say you clean house. And to me, the way that Ryan Pace has handled the salary cap alone is the reason you get rid of him. But what has Ryan Pace been good at? We're in a rebuild. What has Ryan Pace been good at? Unfortunately, those first and second round picks, they're not his forte. But if I'm dealing with late round picks, Ryan Pace does get the job done. Ryan Pace does find value. Do you clean it all the way up, or do you let him try and rebuild this thing and get a real second coach? Because we all know John Fox wasn't his guy. Like, we all know that. We all know that they were like, oh, he's so young and he's nice and here we go and blah, blah, blah. But hey, we're going to give you this coach. Make it work. Jay Sane says finding late round picks isn't good enough to keep him around. Any decent GM can find late round steals. That's not true. That's not true. There's a lot of GMs that don't find those late round steals. A lot of them. There's a lot of GMs that miss on that late round talent. You know why? Because usually when it's late round talent, we're talking about it. Those late round picks, those late round steals, they usually are like, oh my God, where'd you find this guy? How'd that guy pop up? And they're usually on pretty good teams. It's usually an above average GM that does that. I'm not saying you keep Pace. I'm not here for the Pace train. I'm not going to lie to you, because to me, the most egregious thing about Ryan Pace is not his drafts, although there's definitely a case to be made for that as well. The most egregious thing about Ryan Pace is what he's done with this salary cap. The fact that he was unable to keep many a talented player by signing bad contracts. To me, how he dealt with the cap alone should get him out of here. At a minimum, that's the most disrespectful thing I've seen out of him. 18 million. 18 million to Mike Glennon. We've consistently seen him mess up the cap. That's the part that scares the heck out of me. And the Bears are, the Bears are still, let's be real, mom and pop. So there's probably one salary cap dude. It's probably like Ted helping him out. He's just like, hey, we got money to give it to this guy. I mean, we do, but why? I give it to him. And Ryan jumps the gun a little bit. Ryan gets excited. Big season from this guy. Give him his money now. He's a superstar. We've rarely seen that work those seasons after. But with the talent that's here, listen, if Tevin Jenkins works out, if Justin Fields is what he is, guess who picked those guys? Now, I think Matt Nagy has his fingerprints all over Justin Fields, but guess who picked those guys? I give him credit for the picks he's made. Some of them. Some of the late round picks. Yeah, paying Dalton. Bad decision. But do you bring somebody else in who's the unknown versus what you do know? That's the question. That's what it comes down to. I'm not saying you don't. I'm not saying you don't. But that is a question. What do we got? What do we got? 8 million in Nick Foles, 10 million in Andy Dalton. Two guys that we didn't want to see start at all this season. Something like that. I think Foles is making 8. Baki says, so we got a GM who's 50-50 on first and second round picks, solid on late round picks, and bad using the salary cap. Those reasons alone means he's got to go. Let's not forget he gave $18 million on the QB on the other side. No, for sure. But I'm gonna be honest with you, dog. If we're saying he's 50-50 on first round picks, that's not bad, bro. Now the problem we have with it is they were first round picks at the top of the draft. You messed up on Mitch, messed up on Kevin White. You know what I'm saying? But if you go through and you see 50-50 on those picks, and me and Kid have kind of done this on the show. If you see 50-50 on those early picks, I'm not defending them. I'm not doing nothing. But if you see 50-50 on those picks, he should stay. Just on the pick side of it. 50-50 is a ridiculous percentage. If you're 50% on your first round picks, that's a ridiculous percentage. More first round picks than not bust out. Or just become role guys in the NFL. Now I would have to go back through and look at it again and see what it actually is. I don't know if he is 50-50 on them, but even if you are, and if you're hitting a lot on your late, especially if you're 50-50 and you're hitting on your late rounds, dog, that's a good GM. What you just described, Baki, is a good GM. Now the salary cap part of it, that's a different part altogether. That's the part I have my problem with him. Because you've let good talent walk out of the door because you had to make room to pay the guys that you wanted to keep. Pierre says, I don't see why would Ryan Pace, man, y'all got to work on y'all typing sometimes, or that spell check be getting y'all. I don't see why Ryan Pace, oh, that moved on me, is untouchable. He's been here for 7 years, needs to change for the organization. If you bring a new coach in, you need to bring in a new GM too. See, you guys are doing it backwards, though. Doing it backwards. I'm not saying Ryan Pace is untouchable. I'm just saying that what you have in the building and with the picks you have, you know that he's good at that move. But if you're going to get a new coach and a new GM, you get the GM first. I don't care if it is, if we can go get Byron Leftwich. I don't care if we can go get Ryan Day, whoever it is. You know why? Because I'm looking at what's the GM going to say when he gets here. If it is Olin Kreutz, if it is whoever it's going to be that takes over as head of football operations, guess what? Louis Riddick, whoever it is, whoever you go out there and find, he makes the decision on who your next coach is. Let's do this thing like big boys. Let's do this thing like a real football team. Let's do this thing like a real football team. I'm gonna pay some bills real quick, man. Then we'll get into just looking at what we got here, man, and what we want to keep around. Appreciate you guys for tuning in and rocking with us as always, man. It's your boy Pat the Designer. Make sure y'all like and subscribe to the video, man. We do this every single week. We're always talking Bears. We always talking Bulls. We'll also be breaking down Bears and Bulls, and just stuff around the league. Antonio Brown tomorrow morning on the Morning Breeze. Make sure you guys get in tune with that, man. I want to let you guys know about a little something called Symbol. Symbol is a stock market for sports that allows you to profit off of your sports knowledge. Now, this is my Bears stock right here, right? And I got 4 shares of Bears. 4 shares of Bears, right? It ain't done good for me. It's dropped dramatically. But you know what? They're my team. I had to put a little bit of bread on them. On Symbol, you can trade sports teams like stocks. Every time your team wins, you earn cash. Use your sports knowledge on Symbol to buy low and sell high and earn cash payouts when your team wins. Join the 7,000 plus early adopters who have started to invest in their favorite team. Visit symbol.com to create a free account. And when you deposit, make sure you use the promo code BREEZE, BREEZE, to make your deposit risk-free up to $500. Visit symbol.com and use the promo code BREEZE, and your deposit will be risk-free. That means even if you lose money, Symbol will refund your initial deposit. No questions asked. Join Symbol and start investing and profiting from your favorite teams. Now, a lot of people here, we're here for the Bears. I'm going to show you the Bears. Bears are 6-10. This is kind of where the stock has moved on us. You know what I'm saying? This is kind of where the stock is going. But my portfolio's up. Why is my portfolio up? As you see, a lot of stuff here. Total earnings right now, I'm in the negative. But what's going on that's got my portfolio moving in the right direction? And here's where we go back here. You know what I'm saying? Let's go to the Bulls here. A little C-Red, eh? A little C-Red action. Hey, you see that? I'm up $22 right now on the Bulls right now. I've earned $53 over the total life of it. You see there's the drop here, massive drop here in December, but we're getting right back into it in January, baby. We're talking about over a week. You see where that stock went, skyrocketing and moving in the right direction. So that's all you can hope for, man. Make sure you guys tune in to symbol.com, man. It's a lot of it's fun. You know what I'm saying? It's like FanDuel, but long term almost. You know what I'm saying? So make sure you guys check that out. We appreciate that love, man. Appreciate Symbol being a sponsor of the Windy City Breeze. Vern coming back to it. He said, let's cut the crap, Pat. We'll only get rid of Matt. The people at the top are a joke. Your thoughts? Here's the question I have for y'all to answer Vern's question. You get rid of Matt. You get rid of Ryan. Who's making the decision on bringing in the next head coach? Who's making that decision? Is it still George? Is it Ted? Who's doing that? Who's the guy that's bringing in my next GM, my next president of football operations, whatever it is? Because I'm going to be honest with you, I don't have faith in those guys. And now we know what kind of owner George is because we heard that. R1 says you hire a team of consultants. That's how you hire a GM. R1, we did that. We hired our team of consultants. That's how Ryan got here. Then we hired another team of consultants to work with Ryan. And that's how Matt got here. We've always got a team of consultants. We don't have any people that have ever played the game. We don't have any people that understand how football works. We don't have any people that understand how the football business side works. I don't need to see another group that's got Ernie Accorsi leading the way. Ernie Accorsi's never done nothing for the Bears. Who cares what Ernie Accorsi thinks? If you're going to bring somebody in, at least bring somebody in that's been a part of the organization. Rumor is Dungy and Bill Polian are in the building giving George consultation. For the love of God, thank you. Tony Dungy. Oh, my God. He's the dude that beat us in the Super Bowl. Yeah, great football mind. Still coaching. Still doing what he's great football mind. I take nothing away from him. He's not here. He's got no attachment to it. It's a paycheck. You're bringing in dudes that want a paycheck. Tony Dungy, it's a paycheck. What's he care about the Bears? He wants to see the Colts beat them in the AFC in the Super Bowl. What's Bill Polian care about the Bears? You got a bunch of people that have been a part of this team, that have been a part of this organization, that will offer their services to you and have said that. And you know what the Bears have said? No, we don't want to hear from you. You stay in your place. You're a player. Nah, 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 I don't want to hear from you. You're a former coach. I don't care what Tony Dungy thinks. I'm sorry. I could care less what Bill Polian thinks. They're not a part of the organization. They've never been a part of the organization. Why would I care? I barely care what George thinks, and he won't leave. So who's making the decisions? You pay Dungy. He's a professional. Yeah, he's still going to pick the guy that's his buddy. He's still going to pick the guy that's a nice coach. He's still going to pick the guy that he's been wanting to give an opportunity. He doesn't care. He's a professional, sure. Comes in, does his job, gets out, clocks out. You know what? He goes home and he's cutting the bread and he nicks himself on the night. You know what color it bleeds? Colts blue, not Bears blue. Bring in people that know what they're doing. Bring in people that understand what it means to be a Chicago Bear. Because through all of this, what I said before, the only people who are pissed off about what we're seeing is us. The people that are sitting here in this chat, me, you guys, Cap, former players, we're the only ones pissed off. George ain't pissed off. Check cleared. Ryan ain't pissed off. Check cleared. Matt's not pissed off. His check's going to clear for next season as well. Bring in people that know football. R1, who do you want to hire? Krutz? Come on, bro. You know why I would hire Olin Krutz? I absolutely would hire Olin Krutz. You know why I would hire Olin Krutz? Because Olin Krutz understands how you win football games. Justin Fields might be the next coming. He might be. You know what he's not going to be? If he's laying on his back. You know who seems the one person that knows that? The people that played football. Now, I'm not saying I would hire Olin Krutz as my next GM. I'm not saying I would hire Olin Krutz as my next president of football operations, but I would absolutely have Olin Krutz in the building. You know why? Because he understands that the dudes that stand in front of Justin Fields are the most important people on the field. He gets that. You know who doesn't get that? The GM that was here. Or the GM that is here, I should say. He doesn't seem to get that. Because the first thing he did when he got here is Mitch Trubisky. Kevin White, honestly, was the first thing he did when he got here. Is it Kevin White or Leonard Floyd? I don't know who. Here's the thing, right? Here's the thing. I don't make these decisions. But if I were to make these decisions, if I were to make these decisions, knowing that I don't make these decisions, the first thing I would do is hire somebody who's made these decisions. The first thing I would do is hire somebody who's played and understands what happens on the field. Because guess what? Ryan Pace didn't play in the NFL. The first thing I would do is bring somebody in who understands how football schemes work and what's going to be successful to a player being successful. The first two things we did before going to get a quarterback is we went and got a wide receiver and we went and got a defensive end. First two things. Now, I'm no expert, but my first two moves would have been to protect the guy that I want to eventually get at quarterback. Right? Is that crazy to think? But you went and got a wide receiver, you went and got a defensive end, and then you went and got a quarterback. And by the way, the receiver you got made no impact with the quarterback. So you didn't even have that rapport there. I'd bring somebody in who understands the order to do things in. Heck, I'd bring an old GM in. That maybe that's where you bring in Bill Polian to be like, hey, where do you make moves here? You know what I'm saying? There's such a you got to find the new shiny toy. You got to find the young guy. You've got to find we found the young guy. Guess what? The young guy sucks. Both of them. We found those young guys. We found the new dudes, the new shiny toy. We found the dudes that haven't been head coaches before. We found it. Guess why? Guess what? They suck. You made the wrong decisions on them. Both times. You had the dude that was coach of the year in your building and wanted to turn his franchise around. And the first thing he said to you was, listen, if we do this, I want to get rid of Jay Cutler. Now get him out of here. A GM came in the building at the same time and said, listen, if we do this, I want to get rid of Jay Cutler. Now get him out of here. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm all about making moves that are going to move you in the right direction. And moves that help you move in the right direction are having people that understand the sport you're playing. We've had businessmen in here. We've had businessmen in here. We've had dudes that are good at writing checks in here. Find me the guy that understands how the game works. That's what I want to see. And then I want that guy that understands how the game works to find the guy that understands how to lead a team. I don't care who it is. This is the thing about being a sports fan, right? I don't care who wins. It could have been Mitch Trubisky. It could have been Pat O'Donnell playing quarterback. If he wins, keep him in there. Find me the guy that wins. I don't care what he looks like under there. I don't care what number he's got on. I don't care if he's got a visor or not. I don't care if he's got a mustache, a cigar. I don't care. I want to see wins. You know when I care? When there's wins. And I'm talking about convincing wins that I can see that and I'm like, wow, the team's really moving in the right direction there. That's what I want to see coming into the next offseason. Let me see here. Somebody said check Daniel Greenberg's tweet. Let's see what we got from Greenberg here. Not that one. Which tweet? Chicago Bears. No, that can't be it. Somebody send it to me if you know what he's talking about. Follow me on Twitter, by the way, at Pat the Designer. But at the end of the day, this is the thing. This is the thing. You find the right guy, you find the right combination. This team is not devoid of talent. I thought it was at one point in the season. I really did. I was like, there's no talent on this team. You know what happened? Nagy or everybody went down to COVID. You saw some of the practice squad guys get out there, and I'm like, holy crap, this guy's got talent. Where's he's been all year? I thought this team was devoid of talent. Now I see, listen, you're missing a couple of key pieces. Some pieces I would like to see you have a first round pick for. But guess what? If Justin Fields turns into what almost all of us think he's going to be, okay. I can live with that. One thing, you get one job right, this whole thing changes. You have to find your best GM. And here's the question I have for you. As much as we've talked about getting rid of Ryan Pace, and it's kind of a conversation we've had on the show as well, but as much as we've talked about getting rid of Ryan Pace, the question is out there of, is Sean Payton going to move on from the Saints this season? And if he is, are the Bears in the running for it? If it could secure you Sean Payton, the relationship between him and Ryan Pace, would you keep Ryan? If it could secure you Sean Payton, is it worth it to keep Ryan Pace? And my first instinct feeling is no. Honestly, is no, it's okay. That's crazy. Is he that bad? Or is that just our personal opinion, feeling what we've seen? Are we taking logic into this, or are we just sick of seeing Ryan Pace at the end of every season going, well, you got to come out there and we got to figure it out, and Matt's my guy, and we're going to get this thing all put together, and here we go. But if you could get Sean Payton, one of the greatest coaches in NFL history, in the building, or at least one of the greatest offensive minds, would you do it? And I see Muzz talking about, isn't Sean Payton locked up in New Orleans till 2025? Let's be honest here. If Sean Payton says, I'm done here, I want to get up out of here, they're going to let him out. Sean Payton's king of New Orleans. You know what I'm saying? If he says, I'm done here, guys, I want to get up out of here, they'll let him out of his contract. That's the one thing I do know. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's that kind of good. I like the people too. We could trade for Payton. Hey, look, do you want Ryan Pace giving up? Do you want Ryan Pace giving up picks for Sean Payton? Is that the best move Ryan Pace could make here? He gives up picks to go get Sean Payton. Hey, we'll send you Khalil Mack, a first, a second, and a fifth for Sean Payton. Done deal. That would be hilarious, dog. That would be hilarious. But let's be real. If Sean Payton was like, hey, guys, I think we should mutually part ways. Don't worry about the next 4 years of payment. I'm kind of done here. I think my time's run its course here in New Orleans. I'm going to move on. and he becomes available. The one person that's in a front office right now that we know knows him personally is here. If he could get that done, would you bring him in? Would you keep pace if he gets that done? Or if he believes he can get that done? And here's the problem, right? If you double down on that, this is all at this point where this is all, if fifth was a fifth, we'd all be drunk. But if he's to the point where, Peyton does leave for some reason, like it's being reported that he might do, and Ryan Pace is your best chance of getting him, Ryan's going to be here next year. At a minimum next year. Is that the way you want to move about it? It's interesting, man. There's a lot of interesting ways this offseason can go for the Bears this year. I like where the Bears are at on on Matt Nagy's decision. I think he's going to be gone. I think I'm more so leaning kind of like R1, and some people have said that it's going to be pretty much a done deal on Pace as well, probably. You know what I mean? Like, he's probably gone. So then the scary part begins. Now we're dealing with Dungy and Bill Polian and trying to tell us, hey, this is who the Bears should get to become a storied franchise again. Make sure you sign that with D-U-N-G-Y. Yeah, D-U-N-G-Y. Yeah, sign that check. But I refuse to go into next year just thinking, oh, it's all gloom and doom, dog. It's all gloom and doom. It's not. In all honesty, you fix the offensive line, we're having a completely different conversation next season. That I'd bet on. Tevin Jenkins works. If Tevin Jenkins is good, we'll be having a very different conversation next season. A very different conversation next season. Before I get out of here, man, I just want to remind you guys to check out symbol.com. We'll talk about this line a little bit too here. You know what I'm saying? Kind of where it's moved and how it's kind of steady. The steadiness of it, I've said all year, is more so Justin Fields on this. You know what I'm saying? We saw it go up a little bit there, a couple 3 cents right there. But it's mostly stayed here for a while just because of what Justin Fields has done. I think it stays there anyway. Symbol's a stock market where you can buy and sell trades. You can make profit off of this, guys. You can absolutely make profit off of this. It's not something that's that is just for fun. This is real money. This is real funds that we got in here. And to me, I look at this line. I think it's going to stay that way pretty much the rest of the season. If you want to get in, you want to get in now. You want to get in now. You R1, absolutely. You got to buy the dip. You want to get in now. And I'll tell you why you want to get in now. Because say the Bears do take off. Say the offensive line is fixed. That's going to skyrocket. Justin Fields improving. If you really believe these guys are going to improve next year, you want to get in now. So visit symbol.com, use the promo code BREEZE, and your deposit will be risk-free up to $500. That means even if you lose your money, Symbol will refund your initial deposit, no questions asked. Join Symbol and start investing and profiting from your favorite teams. Get in on it now. Best time. Best time. Bears are down. Bears are down. Best time. R1 says, my question is, how do they evaluate the stock? It moves a little bit mostly on it moves mostly on wins and losses, right? And based on what the market does. So like it dropped when the Bears were losing on 6 games and people end up pulling their money out. They're just like, oh, God, no, get it out of here. These guys suck. I'm losing money here. They come back winning next season. They make a big signing. I'll tell you what jumped it most this season was when Justin Fields got drafted. I saw it skyrocket. Then we started losing. It dropped immediately. You know what I'm saying? When we saw Dalton come in, it was just like, shh. But yeah, Symbol's pretty cool, man. I enjoy being over there. The stock, weirdly enough, that I'm most proud of over there is I bought stock in the Cavs. Cavaliers stock doing well. I bought stock in the Cavs when it was down to like $31. It's up to $34.99 now. So feeling good on that one. Looking ahead, man, I think the Bears finish the season with a dub. They got the Vikings next week. I think they absolutely finished the season with a dub. I thought they would go 4-0 to finish the season. This is very Bears, isn't it? This is very Nagy. He's going to be able to finish and say, listen, we went down, we struggled, but we finished with a win. They're going to win next week. We'll probably hear that he'll be fired by Black Monday. And we'll be on to the next. And hopefully you'll hear Pace is fired as well. And we'll have a ton to talk about over on the Morning Breeze. By the way, check out the Morning Breeze. If you guys are up early, if you are blue-collar people, if you are people that just have to be at work by 6 a.m., check out the Morning Breeze, man. It will be as far, let me double check here on the message I got here. But I believe we might be able to get it going over on the Contender as well. So if you can't sit and just watch the video of us or you don't have YouTube Red, you should be good to go on the Contender as well. If not, I'll update you guys on that. But I think tomorrow's going to be the first day we're going to be able to do that. But yeah, 6 to 9 in the morning. We'll be dropping 3 hours of not only Bears talk, not only Bulls talk, but we're definitely going to be getting in on some talking about AP, talking about what the heck happened there. Is he done in the NFL, or does talent trump crazy? I don't want to call him crazy. He a little bit though. But you know what? I see a couple questions too. Is it on podcast? I haven't dropped it on podcast, to be honest with you. We just started a couple of weeks ago. I haven't dropped it on podcast. I will say you will be able to re-listen to it over on the Contender app, but we might be if you guys are podcast people, you want to hear it later, we might be able to work that out as well. We'll just drop the audio over there and you guys can pick it up. It's a 3-hour show though, man. 3 hours of great content. Me and P Kid getting it in, debating, talking basketball, talking baseball, talking football, all of that stuff, man. So it's going to be fun, man, talking about Quinn as well. So we'll see you guys tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. Monday through Friday. Tune in with the Morning Breeze on that one, man. And, man, if you guys haven't peeped, there's new Breeze merch. Check out over at twcbreeze.com and grab that new Breeze merch, man. We got some new fire out here. This that splat. And if you haven't done so, join the Breeze Superfans as well. You get a bunch of different access to a bunch of different things, and especially just talking with me, Kid, Stefan the Don, AD over on the Discord, man. That's the one part that's real fun, man. And we got Baki, we got Vern in there, always keeping it busting. So we appreciate you guys for tuning in and rocking with us. As always, it's your boy Pat the Designer back at it again to continue watching our Chicago Bears content, which there's been much less of lately because the Bulls have been dominating. Click the links in the descriptions below, or if you want to watch more Bulls content, just do that as well. Hit the subscribe button as well, man. Check out the page. Check out all the content we got coming. We appreciate you guys for tuning in and rocking with us. Hey, by next week, we might have you guys in the building. Bear done. It's your boy Pat the Designer back at it again. Y'all stay safe out there, Chicago. Peace.